Good morning, Canada. I'm Jocelyn Laidlaw in Calgary. We've got a lot in store for you today. They are among more than 1 million orphans in Rwanda.
Yeah, life was scary when Mom died. First of all, we had to fear about living by ourselves.
Meet a family of kids left to fend for themselves and find out what UNICEF is doing to help them. It's a high-risk game you cannot win, and your children might be playing it.
It's the sound of a father who has lost something so dear to his heart that words become obsolete.
A grieving maritime family with a heart-wrenching warning to parents everywhere. We uncovered the surprising truth about bottled water.
Buying bottled water is probably a waste of your money.
If you're drinking pricey H2O for your health, you might want to reconsider. And North Korea shocks the world with a nuclear bang.
We will not permit a deterioration of the security environment in this region.
We find out why sanctions may not tame Kim Jong-il's nuclear ambitions. That and a whole lot more to come, but first, your latest news from CTV Newsnet. North Korea startled the world this week by testing a nuclear weapon. Ever since, Kim Jong-il has been doing some very loud saber rattling. The reclusive communist leader is vowing to conduct even more nuclear tests. And as Steve Chow reports, North Korea says even sanctions as punishment are an act of war.
This is the DMZ, the most heavily fortified border in the world. Here, 1 million North Korean soldiers face off against more than 600,000 South Korean and American forces. Tense at the best of times, American commanders say it's been even more so, following North Korea's claim of a nuclear test.
We have anything from them yelling at us, spitting across the border, throat slashing gestures, your typical middle finger gestures, things along those lines.
North Korea's leaders are talking tougher too, threatening to conduct even more nuclear tests. Its number 2 man, Kim Yong-nam, warned his country would negotiate only if the U.S. dropped all economic and military sanctions. The United States is creating a pretext to prevent us from coming back, he says. The Bush administration is not showing any willingness to solve the nuclear problem. President Bush, in a White House press conference, said the U.S. was committed to diplomacy and had no intention of attacking North Korea. But he remained firm, saying the U.S. was pushing for sanctions.
In response to North Korea's actions, we're working with our partners in the region and the United Nations Security Council to ensure there are serious repercussions for the regime in Pyongyang.
It looks increasingly likely the UN Security Council will push ahead with sanctions. The U.S. is calling for a partial trade embargo and an inspection of all imports to keep weapons materials out. Still, South Korea's foreign minister and nominee for the job of UN Secretary General is holding out hope for diplomacy. I will make this issue a high priority, and I will prompt all concerned nations to return to talks. But patience is wearing thin. In South Korea, protesters for a third day demanded the international community put an end to the North Korean regime.
Beyond the war of words, South Korea's defense minister has told Parliament that if indeed North Korea turns out to have nuclear capabilities, then the South will increase its arsenal of conventional weapons. It appears the feared arms race in Asia has begun. Steve Chow, CTV News, Seoul.
Rob Hubert, a political science professor from the University of Calgary, joins us now. Hi, Rob. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Jocelyn.
You know, Kim Jong-il certainly isn't backing down despite global opposition. Why is he going ahead with these nuclear tests?
Well, there's two reasons that are offered. First and foremost, he never seems to back down. On the one hand, there are the suggestions that this is a rational policy. He's not backing down because he knows that his regime is at risk. And with nuclear weapons, he's able to defend against any possible military intervention. There's also the secondary possibility that this is a man who is mentally unstable and simply doesn't know how to respond to the norms of the international system.
You know, Rob, sanctions have failed to work in other situations. I'm thinking specifically about South Africa and Cuba. Why should we think they would work against North Korea?
They probably won't in the long term. I think the reason why you see people talking about the discussions of sanctions is that there is a sense that something has to be done rather than simply just throw our hands up and say nothing. In the long term, though, it's difficult to see what he is dependent upon that would actually alter this type of behavior.
Right, sure. I mean, the lives of his people is already so difficult. How much worse could it possibly get?
Oh, exactly.
We've heard a lot lately about dissidents inside North Korea, based in South Korea and China as well, using technology like cell phones to wage a campaign against Kim Jong-il. Can that be effective?
Well, since the end of the Cold War, we haven't seen any authoritative regime being severely hampered from inside. It doesn't matter if you're talking Iran, Iraq, Libya, China. The new technologies perhaps provide us on the outside a bit of a window inside, but we haven't really seen them mobilized to any great effect.
So no possibility of a grassroots uprising against him?
Unfortunately, the regimes that are really oppressed tend to be the ones in the most difficult situation for actually trying to oppress or oppose an authoritative regime.
Mm-hmm. You know, Kim Jong-il enjoys a pretty good life, dining on lobster that's been flown in, yet his people are literally starving. How does he hang on to power?
Well, we see this with all the authoritative regimes. The leader themselves always benefit very well, but they make sure that the key holders of power within the regime are also benefiting. So it's not just him having the lobster. It's going to be it's going to be the military, the police service. All of those are going to be looked after, and he'll draw his support in terms of holding control from those elements of his society.
Rob, what about Canada's role? You know, we hear a lot of talk about the U.S. taking a major role in this. China, of course, and Japan. What can Canada do to help put the pressure on North Korea?
Well, it's going to be difficult to see exactly anything we can do in changing the behavior. Unfortunately, it starts raising questions of whether or not we should reconsider our decision, for example, not to participate in the American National Missile Defense. He's got the warhead, and he's going to have the missile capability of reaching North America. So outside of really sort of preparing for when the conflicts get much worse in the Asia-Pacific region, and it looks like they will, there's not much diplomatic pressure that we can bear on North Korea at this point.
Well, and you raise a whole other issue that a lot of Canadians will be thinking about. Thanks so much, Rob. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Alberta's staffing shortage has made headlines nationwide. In Calgary, the problem has reached a tipping point. Immigrant doctors, dentists, and other professionals out of work, while their skills are badly needed to serve an exploding population. But in a familiar story, their foreign credentials aren't recognized here. That's one of the problems being tackled at an immigration conference in Calgary this week. CTV's Bill McFarlane was there.
A piper announces the beginning of another citizenship ceremony. 50 immigrants become new Canadians, but for the highly qualified, this country is not a land of opportunity, at least not yet. Shabir Hussain is from Pakistan.
In Pakistan, you were an engineer.
Yeah.
Are you an engineer here in Calgary?
No.
What do you do here?
Drive taxi.
Hundreds of doctors, lawyers, engineers, and immigrants holding master's and doctorate degrees educated in foreign lands are driving taxis because they find it difficult or impossible to be requalified in Canada.
And they feel like they've been rejected. They've been made to feel that they cannot enter into the society that they dreamed of for so long.
Calgary Centre MP Lee Richardson says the Harper government is working on ways to reintegrate highly qualified immigrants into the Canadian workforce.
The program to facilitate them coming to Canada was announced this summer. The upgrading programs are still in the works, and I hope that we're able to announce that shortly.
Richardson didn't say how long it will take, but people working with immigrants say it's not fast enough.
No, it's not coming fast enough. I know of cases of dentists who have come to our center and saying, we both are dentists, we've practiced for 20 years and we can't even get into the school here to get upgrade and work.
Educators, government, and community leaders are meeting with professional immigrants in Calgary, trying to find solutions to what is a large and lingering problem.
What this conference will do is it'll allow people who've already made inroads to discuss what issues they're now facing and what kinds of public policy support would actually assist in streamlining that.
Solutions can't come soon enough for educated immigrants like Shabir Hussain.
I can contribute to this country, right? It's not just my loss, it's the country's loss. Because Canada needs these people.
Bill McFarland, CTV News, Calgary.
An American fugitive caught in Alberta could soon be on his way back to Arkansas. Timothy Wallace is charged with killing his estranged wife and her boyfriend. He was on the run for more than a year until RCMP nabbed him in Longview, Alberta, in a dramatic takedown. On Tuesday, Canada Immigration ordered him out of the country. CTV's Shelley McCrugan has the details.
Timothy Wallace, handcuffed and shackled, was led into the hearing by guards. The government wants the American fugitive out of the country.
We argued that he was inadmissible because of serious criminality, Section 36 of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act, and we also argued that he was inadmissible based on misrepresentation.
On the grounds of serious criminality, Wallace faces 2 counts of capital murder in Benton, Arkansas, for the 2005 deaths of his estranged wife and her boyfriend. He was questioned about the charges, but claims self-defense.
You got to think, I was scared. I mean, you probably would have done the same thing.
Did you stop firing because there was no bullets left in your weapon?
No.
Wallace chose to appear without a lawyer. The adjudicator, Paul Kaiba, ruled that Wallace is inadmissible to Canada because he lied to immigration authorities when he flew to Calgary. He was also ordered to remain in the custody of immigration.
You may be detained in immigration custody for the purposes of the execution of the removal order on the grounds that you pose a danger to the public in Canada, and or that if released from custody you will not report for your removal from Canada.
Wallace does have the right to appeal and 15 days to apply for a pre-removal risk assessment.
Citizenship and Immigration Canada will look at the file and determine if he were to be removed from Canada, if he would face risks or harm or torture, punishment, that type of thing.
There is another detention hearing scheduled for next Tuesday. Shelley McCrugan, CTV News, Calgary.
Wallace is set to appear in an Arkansas court to face the murder charges at the end of this month. Next, what you need to know about a virus so severe it can paralyze. Also, how tracing your family tree could help you trace your medical history. And another food scare this week, important information about lettuce and carrot juice recalls. That and much more when Good Morning Canada returns. Another food scare this week has North American consumers on edge. A California grower recalled a popular brand of green leaf lettuce because of concerns over E. coli contamination. The Foxy brand lettuce was sold in 7 western states. Worried irrigation water may have been contaminated with E. coli, the company ordered a voluntary recall. But so far, 8,500 cartons of recalled lettuce have tested negative. There are no reports of any illnesses. The lettuce company is based in California's Salinas Valley, the same area where recent E. coli contaminated spinach was grown and not far from where botulism contaminated carrot juice was produced. 2 people in Toronto were paralyzed after drinking the tainted juice. The manufacturer, Bolthouse Farms, says it has ceased production of the juice permanently. Canadians are addicted to bottled water, consuming as a nation billions of liters each year. But a new study obtained by CTV News finds bottled H2O is really no better than plain old tap water. And as CTV's Todd Battis reports, the study calls for stricter regulations like those that safeguard water we drink from the faucet.
Canada, a land where water flows freely, but when we want a drink, Canadians increasingly turn to the bottle instead of the tap. A study compiled by the Sierra Legal Defense Fund argues we shouldn't bother.
Particularly if you're in one of Canada's larger cities, Toronto, Edmonton, Vancouver, we would say that buying bottled water is probably a waste of your money.
A 1-liter bottle of brand name water sells for about $1.50. That's about 3,000 times the amount for a liter of tap water, which is where a lot of bottled water comes from in the first place. Nevertheless, Canadians seem addicted.
I drink a lot of water, bottled water, at work.
In 1997, Canadians drank on average 21 liters of bottled water each. In just a few years, that amount ballooned to 47 liters a person. But it's the notion that bottled water is safer that bothers the environmental group. The study says what regulations exist are inadequate. For example, companies are not required to make their test results public.
We found that Health Canada is effectively letting the industry regulate itself.
Changes may be coming. Health Canada is reviewing the laws governing the production of bottled water. It says a proposal updating monitoring and testing will be made public in the near future.
I don't buy bottled water. I drink it right out of the tap all the time.
Bob Jones, responsible for Vancouver's drinking water, wants bottling companies watched as closely as city supplies.
We monitor the water on a very high frequency basis to make sure that water quality is preserved as it goes through the system to the customer's tap.
We all know it, and the studies prove it. Canada is one of the best places in the world to live. But for more than 1 million Canadians, it's not a happy place. They suffer serious depression. As CTV's Karen Owen tells us, it's a condition many people are still reluctant to talk about.
Nearly 20% of all Calgarians will have at least one bout of depression. Psychologist Patrick Keelan tells us Alberta's economic boom may be great for your bank account, but not always so good for your mental health. There's a lot of people who are working too much or too far away from home.
Many of the people in Alberta who are suffering from depression are people who have moved out here and are isolated from family and social support.
Good morning, Calgary Counseling Centre.
The Calgary Counseling Centre is seeing an increase in the number of people looking for treatment, but it's estimated half of all the people suffering from depression aren't even looking for help. Elizabeth Brown says it took her years and a suicide attempt before she went for help.
Nobody wants to hear when you say, I suffer with depression. But if you say, I've just been diagnosed with cancer, everybody's supportive and caring.
Despite the stigma that still surrounds mental illness, Brown agreed to talk to us. She says she wants other people to get the help they need.
You can't imagine what freedom comes with facing your problem and dealing with it.
Depression is treatable with counseling, medication, or both. Karen Owen, CTV News, Calgary.
A lot of people enjoy tracing their family roots. Now, a conference in Calgary for experts and average folks alike who want to learn more about genealogy. And for those who spend their time researching their family tree, a surprising health benefit. CTV's Najma Yaksan explains.
After genealogical research, Frida Stewart uncovered a trend in her family's medical history.
I found all these people that have MS. And initially, a couple of them were diagnosed as rheumatoid arthritis, but it was later changed to MS.
Stewart now gets regular monitoring of her arthritis.
Researching a family tree can help identify certain medical problems. Geneticist Dr. Renee Martin says things to look out for include clustering, for example, a mother, sister, and a grandmother sharing a disease, or an early age of onset.
They can go to their family doctor and ask if they think it's worthy of a referral to medical genetics.
Dr. Martin says current genetic testing can identify people who carry the gene for many different diseases. Things like breast cancer, schizophrenia, and heart disease. A history of abnormal births or stillbirths can also indicate a genetic problem. Knowing this can help couples decide if they want to have children and can allow doctors to recommend new therapies or a test sooner.
For example, if you are worried about breast cancer in your family and we test and find that you have the gene for breast cancer, we can have much more regular surveillance of the breast cancer.
Uncovering a medical history through a family tree will be a focus at an upcoming conference. The Alberta Family History Society will hold Family Roots 2006 with guest speakers, displays, and a chance to learn how to do genealogical research.
You meet people and can network. And I have a theory that you will find information when you least expect it and where you least expect it.
There will also be a special guest from the LDS Center in Salt Lake City to talk about its extensive genealogical resources that could help people uncover more about their families and their medical histories. Najma Yaksan, CTV News, Calgary.
For more information on family roots, visit the website. It's family-roots.ca. Most of us realize by now that a serious illness can strike very suddenly. In Eric Oppen's case, it took only days for him to go from perfectly healthy to paralyzed from the neck down. CTV's Ann Lewis has his story.
I didn't think truly that I would ever walk again. Standing was going to be a big issue.
It started almost a year ago with a diagnosis of Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Guillain-Barré is actually caused by the immune system being triggered to attack the coating of the peripheral nerves.
The paralysis may start in the weeks after a cold or the flu. There's tingling, fiery pain, and muscle weakness in first the legs and then the arms.
Guillain-Barré syndrome is a rare disease and it often takes no prisoners. The patient can become severely paralyzed, but it is usually treatable. Normally, they improve.
For Eric, this was not the case. He lay for months immobile at the MNI.
There's a dreaded word in this illness. It's called plateauing.
To kickstart Eric's recovery, Dr. Genge took a different approach. She prescribed weekly, massive doses of steroids by IV. She knew it's a treatment which can be used only in specific situations and was confident in this one.
You have to treat an aggressive disease aggressively.
Eric's nerves slowly regained function. By April, Eric was standing. By June, he was walking with help. Now the pain is gone and his strength is returning. He is able to do 4 to 5 hours of exercise and physiotherapy a day. Dr. Genge believes his unusual treatment follows the neuro's mandate.
Far more comfortable using much stronger medications than you would if your primary practice was in an office.
Eric says his months of paralysis and the fight back to health taught him patience, humility, and gratitude. He's planning to walk his daughter down the aisle on her wedding day.
It's going to be full recovery, period. I don't have room in here for anything else.
That will happen. That will definitely happen.
Anne Lewis, CTV News.
Straight ahead, your morning headlines from CTV Newsnet. Also, school officials in Nova Scotia take drastic steps to curb out-of-control teens, why many kids won't be footloose this year. And a warning for parents, the frightening, even deadly game your teen may be playing. That and much more when Good Morning Canada returns. Kids, especially preteens and teens, have always liked to take risks. But there's one risky activity that can have tragic consequences. It's called the choking game. And one Maritime family wants to spread the word about how deadly it can be. CTV's Dan McIntosh has their tearful plea to parents everywhere.
Don't go, Jesse. Don't leave me.
June Davio chokes back tears as she talks about the death of her 13-year-old son, Jesse. A year ago this month, Jesse accidentally killed himself while playing what's known as the choking game, a practice where oxygen and blood flow to the brain is cut off, creating a brief high. Davio told students and staff here at the Port Hawkesbury Community College about the night she heard her husband Jerry scream as he entered their son's room.
It's the sound of a father who has lost something so dear to his heart that words become obsolete.
Davio decided the only way to deal with her own grief and guilt is to raise awareness of the choking game. Watch for warning signs like red, watery eyes, headaches, and marks around the neck. Chuck Boudreau was the principal at Jesse's school. He says teachers can be another set of caring eyes and ears.
As students are interacting with each other throughout the day, that we can hear different things that are happening. We can hear conversations that are taking place, the different names that this activity brings. I mean, they can be dropped amongst and into those conversations.
This is the first time Davio has spoken to a crowded room about her son. Everyone here was touched.
I think it was great that she could stand up there in front of all of us and just let us know. She's very inspiring.
She was amazing. She gave me lots of information that I can take back to my sons and my nephews and make them know more about the choking game and how dangerous it is.
That's the response Davio wants to hear.
And if it means that my life becomes an open book or that I have to tell this story over and over again for the next 3 years, 4 years, I'm happy to do that.
Davio admits that talking about Jesse's death from the choking game will never be easy. However, if it saves just one young life, she feels it's worth it. Dan McIntosh, CTV News, Port Hawkesbury.
Of course, millions of Canadian kids take less deadly risks every day. Parents lay down the law at home and the government does its part, but teens these days are engaging in a lot of dangerous activities. CTV's Tracy Przasnik finds out why they do it and how parents should respond.
The playground isn't the same place it used to be. Young men riding around on skateboards, making big jumps, learning new tricks, some of them without safety gear.
Yeah, you get hurt quite a bit just doing the tricks, and I don't know, you try and stick it out and ride away, but most of the time you just try it and hope for the best.
Hoping for the best and trying not to think about the worst. It's a risky gamble. This retired school teacher says he's seeing more of it all the time.
Absolutely. I see it every day, different things that they do, not just here in the skateboard park with no helmets.
It's also on the schoolyard, at lunch break or after class.
Well, the riskiest things that we do is like play shot for shot, where you just punch each other in the arm and every shot is harder.
What's the point of that?
We're bored, got nothing else to do.
And these students say the risk-taking activities aren't limited to the boys.
Because I've noticed a lot of girls like dating older guys, like way older, like in their 20s, and they're only about 17 and stuff. And like a lot of the drugs that are going around today's kids think it's fun to see how much they can do.
This professor of social work has just written a book on the topic of youth and risk. He says young people are acting out largely in response to the zero-tolerance policy society has placed on them. A backyard fight will get you a criminal record, so will underage drinking, even riding a bike without a helmet. Michael Unger says they often overcompensate and seek out extra risky activities because they haven't had the opportunity to test their limits.
So yes, I see sometimes children turning. Sometimes children will turn to drugs and use of alcohol, risky sexual activity, bullying, fighting, those kinds of behaviors. And often if you talk to those youth, what they're saying is they're desperate to try and find some place that they can feel more adult-like. They want some sort of challenge in their life.
Their inspiration often comes from pop culture. The jackass phenomenon, for one. The first edition of the movie, filled with dangerous stunts done in a reality theme, was a success. And the sequel was the top movie in the country 2 weeks ago.
They do whatever they feel like, so we kind of do what we feel like and just try and stick it out and ride around.
I think the movies are sort of following trends amongst teenagers, and then the trends are being that much louder, that much more out there.
Unger says giving teens an opportunity to make their own choices, and sometimes their own mistakes, will help them feel like adults. And letting them take some risks in a safe environment will reduce the desire to act out on their own.
If you'd like to learn how to discuss dangerous activities with your children, you can find the information online at connectwithkids.com. School officials in Kingston, Nova Scotia are struggling with an increasing problems at high school dances. From drunken and drugged up kids to fights and dirty dancing, some principals have had enough. Now, as Chantel Jones reports, they're shutting down the party.
In the life of an adolescent, the high school dance can be the epitome of social interaction outside of school hours. But for some maritime schools, it's come to an end.
It wouldn't have happened unless people weren't kind of doing things they weren't supposed to be at the dances. So we kind of deserve to not have them, but it does suck because dances are fun.
4 high schools in the Halifax area have decided to cut dances this year. Part of the reason, excessive drinking and sexually provocative dancing.
There is certainly a portion of students who would make poor choices before a dance and choose to consume alcohol or drugs. And that was challenging for chaperones and for administrators.
QEH and St. Pat's High, which will amalgamate next fall, will still have a semi-formal dance and a prom this year. But for the rest of the year, instead of dances, there will be coffee houses and talent nights, among other events.
We have not eliminated student activities. We still have those dates in our calendars that normally would be reserved for dances, but we're looking at other opportunities for students to get involved.
But not all students like the change.
Dances are more something everyone wants to do, and the coffee is just like a few.
I feel bad for the people that coming from junior high. They were probably kind of excited for high school dances, but yeah, and they didn't even tell us, they didn't explain to us why they were gone or anything. Like, people kind of figured it was because people were drinking and getting into fights.
And when it comes to the dancing,
it depends what you think is inappropriate. I think that some people are older and aren't with the times.
And others are trying to work around the new rules by bringing dancing back into their schools at lunch hour.
It doesn't necessarily have to be at night, it doesn't necessarily have to be with the DJ. We can always just try to have fun just with ourselves in the cafeteria having a dance party.
Chantel Jones, CTV News, Halifax.
Coming up, a major automaker packs up and moves some of its production to Africa. And the Baja 1000 is one of the toughest races in the world. After the break, meet a Calgary duo with their eyes set on the finish line. And Rwanda, 12 years after the genocide. How aid agencies are helping a generation of orphans. After this short break. UNICEF has just announced its new fundraising campaign with a special focus on Africa. In Rwanda, there are more than 1.25 million orphan children. Some lost their families to the genocide, others to AIDS. And there simply aren't enough facilities to help them all. CTV's Barb Higgins traveled to Rwanda and met with a young family of orphans left to fend for themselves.
We keep trying hard with life.
Denise is a 13-year-old girl who's been forced to grow up very quickly. First, her father died of AIDS, then her mother. She dropped out of school a year and a half ago to care for her 3 brothers, aged 14, 11, and toddler. The baby was just 2 months old when their mother died.
Yeah, life was scary when Mom died. First of all, we had to fear about living by ourselves. We saw that she was about to die. She told us to be confident. But when she died, I lost all my confidence.
Their relatives disowned them, and there was no room in an orphanage.
We had nowhere to go. We just feared.
An agency gave them this house with 1 bedroom, but they don't get any other help. They have to fend for themselves.
The biggest problem we have is hunger. We don't have beans, we don't have maize, we don't have anything else. Then we just eat potatoes when we are lucky to have it.
14-year-old Eric is still in school. He's first in his class, but the school sent him home. That's because he couldn't afford the 40 cents to pay for his national exam. School is free until grade 6, but he might be held back if he can't pay the extra fees, and that could threaten the future of the entire family.
For Eric, the main problem is he is like a responsible for the family.
When I asked Eric and Denise what they dream of, their answers hardly sounded like those of young children.
I would get work and care for my sister and brothers. If she had a property, she could cultivate, but also she wishes to go back to school. However, she's the one who is keeping the child.
These kids have no idea what the future holds, but Denise says she's no longer scared.
I'm no more afraid to face life, but there is big challenges. The challenge is poverty. It's really, we have nothing.
UNICEF in Rwanda is helping support orphanages for children affected by AIDS, and they're financing local health care clinics. To some business news out of Africa now. General Motors is relocating production of one of its most popular luxury SUVs to that continent. The new scaled-down Hummer H3 will be made in South Africa and sold outside of North America. General Motors says the move is part of a $260 million investment in the African nation. GM joins Ford and a half dozen other major automakers shifting their production to South Africa, where there's a large pool of unemployed workers. International car makers say what they save in production costs and wages, they pay for in component imports and transport costs, but it's worth the effort.
The growth market is not in North America right now. The growth market's in areas of the world like South Africa.
GM plans to manufacture 10,000 H3 Hummers in South Africa each year. Coming up, your morning headlines from CTV Newsnet. But have you purchased a pumpkin yet? After the break, we'll tell you why the jack-o'-lanterns may be harder to find this Halloween season. And from the foothills of Alberta to the Baja Peninsula in Mexico, a Calgary pair sets their sights on one of the most grueling but prestigious races in the world. We'll meet them when we return. It's a long way from the foothills of Alberta to the dry, hot Baja Peninsula in Mexico. And while thousands of Canadians head there for a little fun in the sun, a Calgary duo is seeking something more challenging: the grueling Baja 1000 race, dodging desert sand, Mexican police, and livestock. CTV's Heath Brown meets the brave Canadian competitors.
Meet Cranbrook native Kevin Ostland and Calgary's Richard Thomas, two guys who love trucks and love racing. And next month they become the first Canadian duo to compete in the stock full class with a diesel truck.
It's the most dangerous point-to-point race in the world. It's 1,000 miles non-stop. We'll probably finish in about 30 hours. So instead of messing around, why not go big to start?
Our biggest obstacle, I think, will be heat. I'm just
For you in the truck?
Yeah, I'm just a regular Canadian guy. I don't like the heat that much, so it's going to be hot, but we'll make her.
And I've never been to Mexico, let alone a desert, so it's going to be interesting.
Center of that hump that you're sitting on. The team has completely redone Kevin's 2005 Dodge Ram 2500 to meet the standards of the stock full class, and have taken it out and over some jumps to see if it passes important suspension tests. And in large part, competing in this race is about credibility for each of their businesses. Kevin's High Rollers Trucks and Richard's Big Dog Performance, which share an office and a shop in Southeast Calgary.
We can take the real world stuff that we sell to our customers and put it to the most grueling test known to mankind.
The stock vehicle probably couldn't do what we're going to make it do, but I mean, it's enhancements everybody can do to their trucks. Whether it be the engine, the transmission, the differentials, the suspension. That's what we do, is we make them work.
Kevin and Richard leave on October 21st for testing in Ensenada. Now, Kevin was first inspired to enter the race after watching a documentary on it, and now he's taking a camera crew down to Mexico to make another documentary.
The big thing about that is to let people know that anybody can make a dream a reality and branch away from the normal day-to-day life and do whatever their goals are.
For more information on the race or to get involved in sponsorship, you can contact the racers through the websites that are on your screen. When we return, we get the latest headlines from CTV Newsnet and mold on a whole crop of gourds. Mother Nature takes aim at pumpkins. And every province has a major polluter contributing to global warming. We reveal who they are when Good Morning Canada returns. Here's a look at some of the stories ahead in the second hour of Good Morning Canada. Selling yourself at lightning speed.
You got 8 minutes to sell your application with an employer.
We show you new high-tech ways to spruce up your resume and land that job you've always dreamed of. We meet the stars of Clint Eastwood's latest flick, Flags of Our Fathers.
Who are these Gold Star mothers? That's what we're calling the mothers of the dead flag raisers.
How the war drama is paying tribute to the heroes of Iwo Jima and generating Oscar buzz.
Air quality in this country is suffering, and we need to address it in an immediate and urgent fashion.
And the surprising results of a national environmental study. We reveal Canada's biggest polluters. Which province produces the most greenhouse gases? That and a whole lot more still to come, but first, your morning headlines from CTV Newsnet. Prime Minister Stephen Harper unveiled part of his new clean air bill this week. It focuses on combating smog. Almost every province has a major industry contributing to pollution. CTV's David Aiken now with a list of the biggest greenhouse gas polluters in the country.
In Canada's east, it's Nova Scotia Power. In the country's manufacturing heartland, it's Ontario Power Generation. And in the west, it's organizations like Saskatchewan Power, electricity companies that are the country's biggest greenhouse gas polluters.
Well, in fact, the 8 out of the 10 largest are coal-fired
plants. So in many ways this is a coal story, and in many ways this is an oil sands story, because the other 2 of the top 10 are oil sands operations.
Environmental watchdog Pollution Watch took publicly available government data to come up with its list of the country's top producers of the greenhouse gases behind global warming. Ontario Power Generation is the biggest offender, followed by TransAlta, Sask Power, Alberta Power, and Nova Scotia Power. Activists say Canada needs to look at energy alternatives that cause less harm to the environment.
Hydro, solar, wind, geothermal, and the biggest of all, which is conservation.
The federal government is promising to take action.
Air quality in this country is suffering, and we need to address it in an immediate and urgent fashion.
Ambrose will table a new Clean Air Act next week, which she says will get tough with polluters.
What we're doing with this piece of legislation is moving to mandatory targets that will mandate industry and regulate industry in a way that will be healthy for Canadians.
But critics worry that the new conservative rules will only call on industry to become more efficient and that they won't order polluters to actually cut existing emission levels. Environmentalists say the technology exists to cut emissions. All that's needed now is the political will. David Aiken, CTV News, Ottawa.
If you'd like more information about big polluters, you can visit the Pollution Watch website. It's pollutionwatch.org. Now that you've finished polishing off that Thanksgiving pumpkin pie, it's time to think about getting the real thing. The Great Gourd, that jack-o'-lantern you'll need just in time for Halloween. But a word of warning from the people who grow them. Don't delay in getting one. Thanks to Mother Nature, pumpkins could soon be in short supply. CTV's Monica Verman explains why.
Which one do you like? Which one do you want?
Tony and Muriel Myatt look on as their children pick out a pumpkin. With more than 3 weeks until Halloween, there are plenty to choose from.
Gives us a chance to set the pumpkins outside the house, and then we can carve them in ample time for Halloween.
It turns out that shopping early may be a good idea this year. There may not be enough pumpkins to go around.
Overall, I'd say our production is probably down by about 40%.
John Jewett is blaming the weather.
The lack of sun more than anything, and the rain and the cold temperatures just totally, the production wasn't there on account of those conditions.
It's the same story in other regions as well. Growers in Nova Scotia's Annapolis Valley say the rain made it difficult to get plants into the ground. Many that did became diseased.
There was a lot of moisture this year in the Annapolis Valley, so some fields got flooded out and the production was lower.
The pumpkin shortage is also being felt by farmers in Quebec and parts of the northern United States.
We probably lost 90% of the pumpkin this year.
Claude Pope says although his season started off poorly, he was able to save the harvest by renting bees.
More bees around, the bit more pollination we got done, and it's just did a better job having the extra bees.
Farmers are hoping next year's pumpkin crop is more plentiful and profitable. Back at the roadside vegetable stand, the Myatts have got a good start on Halloween and glad they've got their gourd. Monica Verma, CTV News, Majorville, New Brunswick.
Meantime, disappointment for pint-sized pumpkin patrons on the prowl at this farm in Indiana. The pumpkins here and in many parts of the northeastern and midwestern United States are blighted by fungus. Plant pathologists say a combination of high temperatures and record rain in August across much of the U.S. provided perfect mold-growing conditions. Some farmers lost most of their crop, but the price of pumpkins is not expected to rise. Coming up, we'll take a look at who's on the top of the music charts this week, and she's known for her legendary singing voice, now making waves with some colorful language. We'll tell you what happens when you try to upstage Barbra Streisand. And Mose Persico dishes on Clint Eastwood's latest flick, Flags of Our Fathers. He talks to the stars. That and a whole lot more when Good Morning Canada returns. Two-time Oscar-winning director Clint Eastwood is once again at the helm of an epic motion picture. His latest, Flags of Our Fathers, is a human drama about friendship and love, sacrifice and manipulation, set against the violent conflict of war. Good Morning Canada's Mose Persico sat down with the stars, two of whom are Canadian.
I don't know. I wish I could have seen their faces.
The right picture can win or lose a war.
You're gonna want to see this.
It was a battle that would produce one of World War II's most enduring images. A photograph of 5 Marines and a Navy corpsman raising an American flag on top of Mount Suribachi, the island's commanding high point. Based on the best-selling novel with the same name, Flags of Our Fathers, a compelling epic drama directed by Clint Eastwood, chronicles the Battle of Iwo Jima and the fates of the flag raisers, brave soldiers who became a symbol of victory to a nation that had grown weary of war.
Any theories why they ain't shooting? Maybe they're all dead. What do you think, Doc? You think they're all dead?
I understand that the material was kind of emotional for you because your family has a long history in the military service.
Absolutely.
Your father, Navy in Vietnam,
Yeah.
your grandfather in World War II. That must have been such an amazing experience for you.
Yeah, I mean, as if I needed anything else to make this project important to me other than the elements that put it together, but it did. I mean, you know, and that was, I pursued this project with a passion that I hadn't pursued any other previously, and I've done this a long time, but it was the first time I ever wrote a letter to a director. I got the material when I found out he optioned it, read the book immediately, and just, this was the kind of thing, this was the dream I had as a kid, the kind of movie I'd want to make or be a part of, and to pay tribute and homage to those men that fought this war, that changed our world for the better forever, you know, meant so much to me.
I can't take them calling me a hero. Some of the things I saw it done, everyone thinks to be proud of.
We're so proud of you as Canadians because you're born in Winnipeg.
Yes.
And now I understand that you're shooting in Calgary,
Yeah.
which is nice, keeping the products on a home level. What's happening in Calgary? Are you enjoying your time there?
I'm loving Calgary.
Yeah.
Shooting a film called Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee with Aidan Quinn. And it's just beautiful to work in your country because, you know, you feel at home. And I love that Calgary is very supported and, you know, it's like a cowboy town. I love it, it's great.
So you must be going through such a great high yourself because here you are. Canada knows you. I mean, everyone knows who Adam Beach is and all that. Do you kind of still pinch yourself at one point when sometimes when here you are working with the likes of a Clint Eastwood, produced by Steven Spielberg? I mean, you've come an amazing long way and you have a lot of other film projects to look forward to as well. It must be an unbelievable feeling.
Well, the one thing that's I'm coming to understand is that I've climbed a huge ladder being Native American, and to receive the recognition and work with the big boys, I've never really imagined that. So this is a new experience for me. I feel like I'm starting again.
Let's talk a little about the Clint Eastwood film experience because you worked with the likes of the Spielbergs and the Mel Gibsons and your other war movies and all that. No real boot camp for this one.
No.
Or there was a small one, I understand.
No.
And what does that do to the performances when I understand that pyrotechnics are going off with you guys not even aware that they're going to go off?
Yeah, that was an absolutely conscious decision on on both Steven and Clint's part. They wanted that chaos, that element of fear and just disorientation of these young men. As it happened on Iwo, I mean, they landed, 40,000 of them landed on that beach that day in waves, and it just became a a congested beach of tanks and gear and men, and they didn't see a Japanese soldier for hours. And once that beach got congested, they opened up on them, and they pretty much didn't see the enemy for the whole 36 days, other than when they took Suribachi. And so it really was a very chaotic, disoriented feeling for the Marines, and Clint wanted to capture that.
As far as us being the heroes of Iwo Jima, that's just not the case. The real heroes are dead on that island.
Knowing he was with you that day and seeing him in that photograph, I don't know why it makes me feel better, but it does. It's so silly.
No, it's not.
The picture, the portrait, the first real symbol of celebrity worship.
Yeah.
It was a time where the public demanded heroes, or they really needed someone to look up to. It says, it speaks volumes, because the world is very much like that today. We're often looking for these role models to look up to, and sometimes we find them and sometimes we don't.
Yeah, and a lot of the same trappings happen. I mean, a lot of people kind of fall into the same, make the same questionable choices that Rainey makes in terms of, wanting that fame and wanting that attention and doing whatever they can to get it, and kind of, selling out a little, you could say, I guess is the term we've adopted now. Yeah, it's weird, I guess, 250 years ago in Europe, it was kings and queens and royalty, and that's how people lived out their celebrity fantasies, and it has morphed into something else now. And yeah, it's a huge part of American culture and even world culture. It's weird. Absolutely. And this was a sort of a precursor to that on some level,
Mose Persico joins us now. Mose, this looks like another emotional blockbuster film. Will this make the public finally see Clint Eastwood less as an actor or more as a bona fide film director?
I know what you mean, Jocelyn, because let's face it, the movie-going public loves to see Clint Eastwood appear in any role, but I think he's already proved himself as a bona fide director. After all, he has won 2 Oscars for directing, Unforgiven and more recently $1 Million Baby. And this film, Flags of Our Fathers, is the 30th film in which he serves as director. It all started in 1971 for a movie called Play Misty for Me and The Beguiled, The Storyteller. He's won the respect of his peers and all the people that work with him. The Hollywood studios love him because he brings his films on time and on budget, and he wears several hats for all his film productions: producer, director, composer. Jocelyn, he composed the music for Flags of Our Fathers,
Really?
and he's done it 5 times already. He's a true all-around artist.
And we still love to see him on the screen, by the way. The
Yeah, we
scenery in this movie is unbelievable. Where was it shot?
It was shot in various locations surrounding areas of Los Angeles, Illinois, Virginia, Arlington, and Iwo Jima, Japan, and of course Iceland for the battle scenes where the soldiers got to Iwo Jima. Now, the battle scenes in this one, they're terrifically shot, Jocelyn. They're very reminiscent of Saving Private Ryan, the Steven Spielberg film. Steven Spielberg also serves as co-producer of Flags of Our Fathers, so he possibly gave Clint Eastwood some pointers on how to shoot those terrific, gripping scenes, which, by the way, are very touching. It was quite an act of bravery of those soldiers back then.
Well, anything Spielberg touches turns to gold, so it can only be good.
That's right.
What can we look
It's quite a
forward to next
partnership.
week?
Next week, one of your favorite actors, Christian Bale. Remember him, Batman?
Love him.
Him and director Christopher Nolan were largely responsible for resurrecting the franchise. They team up for a film called The Prestige, which also stars Hugh Jackman, Michael Caine, and Scarlett Johansson is the love interest in this movie. And Jocelyn, she's now dating Josh Hartnett.
You know all the dish, Mose. That's what I love
Another one
about
of your
you.
favorites.
It's always a value-added segment when you're on. Well, we'll look forward
Thank
to
you so
that.
much.
Thanks so much, Mose. Have a terrific weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, bye now. Mel Gibson broke his silence this week, speaking for the first time about his struggle with alcohol and the shame of his drunk driving arrest in July. In an exclusive interview with Diane Sawyer, Gibson says he's deeply ashamed of his anti-Semitic rant the night of his arrest. He talked about fighting his personal demons and his long struggle with alcoholism. The Oscar-winning director says he began drinking again 2 months before his arrest, and he blames the alcohol for his bigoted remarks.
It was just the stupid ramblings of a drunkard and what I need to do.
to heal myself and to be assuring and allay the fears of others, and to heal them if they had any heart wounds from something I may have said. So this is the last thing I want to be, is that kind of monster.
Some in Hollywood vow never to work with Gibson again. He says there's nothing he can do about that, but he is still working. His new movie, Apocalypto, comes out in December. Hundreds of John Lennon fans gathered in New York Central Park on Monday to commemorate what would have been Lennon's 66th birthday. Fans gathered to sing Lennon's songs at Strawberry Fields, the garden dedicated to his memory. The former Beatle was shot to death by a crazed fan nearly 26 years ago, but his message of peace lives on.
Thinking that we still need to give peace a chance and that we still need to celebrate love and his message and his life.
And just hours after that commemoration, Lennon's killer was denied parole. Mark David Chapman will remain in prison for at least 2 more years. He gunned down Lennon outside his New York apartment. Chapman's parole hearing on Tuesday lasted just 16 minutes. The review board says it's still concerned about the bizarre and brutal nature of the premeditated crime. Chapman became eligible for parole after serving 20 years of a life sentence, but he's been denied 5 times. The most riveting moment of Barbra Streisand's Madison Square Garden concert this week was one of the only unscripted moments. Streisand was putting on a political skit featuring George Bush as a bumbling idiot when someone in the crowd started jeering. One heckler wouldn't let up, prompting Streisand to shout, "Shut the beep up." The comment drew wild applause, and Streisand added, "Shut up if you can't take a joke." With that one F word, the jeers ended, and the message was delivered. No one upstages Miss Barbara, especially not in her hometown. Streisand's 20-city fall tour includes 2 stops in Canada. She'll perform October 15th at Montreal's Bell Centre and Toronto's Air Canada Centre on the 17th. Who better than rock icon Grace Slick to dedicate the first aircraft of Virgin America's new fleet? Just like Slick's 1960s rock band, the jet is called Jefferson Airplane. The name is a tribute to the legendary band from the San Francisco area. It's the first of Virgin America's new aircraft to be named. Slick was on hand for the ceremony along with San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom and Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. The company has invited the public to submit names for its 33 other planes. Virgin America must still receive permission from the U.S. Department of Transportation before it can begin commercial air service. A big jumper this week on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. A song featuring Eminem moves from number 95 to the 7 slot. Take a listen at the top 10.
So that means we gotta make it work. Walk in the house from hard, burn my head. About 24 inches is hollow, I let it hang. How about the ride and up front style, ready to attack now. Pulling the parking lot slow with the lockdown. Convicts to the club, step aside. Pop the seats, don't be heavy in the lounge. VIP, cause you know I got it. If I lay here, if I just learned how to save a life. With the lens of the BBC, the original breadwinner of DTP, and you the center of attention. Yeah, girl, let me make up for the things you like. Yeah, cause you're burning up, I gotta get it fast. Yeah.
And here's a look at the top 20 albums in Canada this week. North Americans spent over $4 billion on batteries last year. Coming up after the break, we take a look at which ones give you the most juice for your buck. And the newest way to send your resume, not so much delivered as broadcasted. High-tech job seeking when Good Morning Canada returns. Job hunting isn't always easy, but what if a resume could speak for itself? They are the crucial pages that make a first impression. Now some job candidates are broadcasting rather than printing their resumes.
It only takes a few minutes to make a strong first impression. First, there was speed dating. Now, there's speed jobbing. Most employers say they know in the first 3 minutes if a candidate shows potential. So, Hakim Sheikh came up with this idea.
You got 8 minutes to sell your application with an employer.
He says over 100 companies in Quebec subscribe to his website. On the day we went, Yves Rocher was recruiting 15 new employees.
Donc Marilyn, j'aurais aimé savoir.
Recruiters know what they're looking for.
The eyes, the voice, the attitude, if she looks stressed or not. Maybe you can talk to me about what you've done to Programme Fédéral d'Expérience.
And the next thing you know,
I think I did great. It was pretty fast. It was only 8 minutes, but I like it that way, so I can really just like talk like essential points, and then I do my thing, I do my point.
employers can also pre-select candidates on the website.
Je cherche un emploi dans les communications. So as you see, I could speak English. Je peux parler français. Ah non, habla español.
Of the 25,000 resumes posted on voicejob.com, almost half are video CVs. There's a 35% hiring rate. Hakim Sheikh believes sometimes people are denied interviews just because of their name.
You can have a name as I have, Hakim Sheikh, where you are going to have probably some difficulties to be seen and to have interviews just because your name.
So, Hakim says, why not broadcast your communication and language skills instead?
I'm looking for a job in sales and customer service.
And if employers want to discriminate based on looks, Hakim says they would do the same in person.
As part of their plan to expand voicejob.com on an international scale, candidates will soon be able to post their video resumes from their own home. Danielle Hamamjan, CTV News.
We all need that extra little motivation or guidance to make the most of our workouts, and the humble iPod can do more than just provide the beat. CTV's Brent Gilbert explains.
When it comes to working out at the gym, there are two kinds of people. Those who know what they're doing, and those who don't. Oh yeah. That's where personal trainers come in. People like Suzanne Zilkowski.
We want to be fit, we want to be healthy, everybody wants that.
But the personal touch doesn't come cheap.
Everyone wants a personal trainer. The thing is, the average person can't afford one on a regular basis.
So Nigel and Suzanne came up with a big idea that literally fits in the palm of your hand.
With the Bosu platform side up and your hands holding the sides, lower yourself down.
It's called the Gizmo Trainer, a complete series of workouts designed for the video iPod.
With the video application, it's there, you see it, you do the exercise, and you move on to the next one. It's video, it's amazing.
Begin by lying on a mat with a Swiss ball between your feet and a plyo ball extended above your head.
Each exercise is explained in simple terms and then illustrated by a trainer.
We had to create a library of over 600 exercises and over 5,000 images.
Now slowly lift the weights to shoulder height.
And just like an old-fashioned exercise tape, if you didn't get it the first time, simply play it again.
We found our users learned by playing it over and over and stopping. If they didn't understand it, they'd go and do it again, and it's brilliant that way.
Unlike most personal trainers you meet at the gym, this one you download off the net.
You pick a workout that's right for your goals. You also pick your experience level, beginner, intermediate, or advanced.
Suzanne and Nigel are convinced the Gizmo is going to be the next big thing.
There's a huge market out there for iPod content, and there are also 42 million fitness club members in the US and Canada, so we knew there was an existing market.
It's certainly cheaper than a personal trainer.
A workout is only $19.
Of course, you can always save your money and go back to doing it yourself.
Feel the burn.
In Vancouver, Brent Gilbert, CTV News.
North Americans spent over $4 billion on batteries last year. When you spend that much, you want something that lasts. Consumer Reports tested AA disposable batteries to see which give you the best value. CTV's Leah Williams-Doherty has the results.
They power everything from digital cameras and portable music players to laser tools and even tape measures. It's no wonder we spend more than $4 billion a year on batteries. But how do you know which battery best fits your needs? Consumer Reports just ran tests on 16 different disposable AA batteries, including ones from Duracell, Panasonic, and Energizer. 4 different types were tested as well: lithium, premium alkaline, regular alkaline, and nickel oxyhydroxide. Tests evaluated battery life in high-drain devices like a digital camera and medium-drain devices like a CD player.
Our tests showed big differences in battery performance depending on what's being powered. So it really makes sense when you're buying disposable batteries to have a specific device in mind.
The best battery for a digital camera turned out to be the Energizer E2 Lithium, which easily outperformed the Duracell PowerPix and Panasonic OxyRide batteries. At $3.38 apiece, the Energizer was the most expensive battery tested, but considering the E2 ran 3 to 7 times longer than the other batteries, Consumer Reports says it's worth the money.
But when it comes to devices that don't need a lot of power, you don't need to buy expensive batteries. Buy the cheapest, highly rated alkaline batteries you can find.
Consumer Reports put the Kirkland Signature AA alkaline battery from Costco on the top of that list. Its performance rated very good, and they cost just 35 cents apiece. The top-rated name brand battery in the test was Duracell. Consumer Reports rated this one very good as well. Energizer and Rayovac rated just good, and Panasonic rated only fair in Consumer Reports tests. Leah Williams-Doherty, CTV News, Calgary.
Consumer Reports says if a manufacturer recommends a certain battery for a device, you should always follow the recommendation. An Ottawa jewelry store is leading the way with its top-of-the-line security system. Howard Fine Jewelers is the first retail store in Canada to use fingerprinting biometrics. CTV's Kate Eggins reports.
This Ottawa jewelry store houses thousands of jewels, but its most valuable gem is its security system.
It's the latest and the newest and the best internationally in the world. We're the first ones, I understand, in North America in a retail operation to install it.
Howard Fine Jewelers is using biometrics. About 25% of their customers now use their fingerprint as a key. To get inside the showroom, those who don't want their fingerprint taken are let in by staff.
Eventually we hope to have everybody, but it's up to them.
Please put your thumb down, please.
A fingerprint is scanned and saved on file.
So within 5 minutes, they've taken my fingerprint and photo, and I'm through the door.
Inside the showroom, there's more technology at work. The business is now keyless.
You bring the quick key here, that allows you to open a case. As you're opening the case, security camera from the ceiling zooms right in, sees the case opening and sees the 2 people involved in the sale or the 3 people who are at the counter.
The heightened security comes as the industry experiences a rise in crime. Smash and grabs are up 5% this year over last.
You see them coming in on occasion. They kind of look at the doors and realize, this isn't going to be easy to come in and out. So they, never mind, and they'll go off.
The technology is also good for business.
Right here we have close to $7,000 in the one ring.
The store's insurance company now allows it to carry 3 times more merchandise because of the security features. Kate Eggins, CTV News.
Speaking of gorgeous things, ladies, line up to meet your new best friend. A South African company has bought a diamond the size of a golf ball for more than $12 million. The Lesotho Promise, as it's called, is the world's 15th largest rough diamond. The 603-carat sparkler was bought during a 5-day silent bid competition. The buyer plans to cut it into one 60-plus carat stone and other smaller polished stones. Once cut, the stones will sell for more than $20 million. The Lesotho Promise was found at the famous Lesting mine in August. Back in 1967, a 601-carat stone was discovered in the very same mine. A Canadian researcher is working on a study that's bound to fuel another battle of the sexes. Psychology professor Philip Rushton says, on average, men have a higher IQ than women. Rushton looked at the SAT scores of 50,000 men and 50,000 women in the United States. He found men scored between 3 and 4 IQ points higher. Rushton admits it's a small margin, but says it could explain why there are fewer women in top jobs. Critics of his work say it's not the IQ score, but how the brain organizes information that determines intelligence, in which case men and women are on equal footing. Coming up, making light of a deadly serious global crisis, why so many find Kim Jong-il so funny. Also, the Trailer Park Boys are a pop culture phenomenon. We find out how real trailer park families feel about the mocking humor. And a pricey purchase, Google snaps up an internet sensation for a cool $1.6 billion. That and more when Good Morning Canada returns. Google is the internet search engine that helps you find information about most anything. This week, the online giant gobbled up an upstart internet phenom, the online video sharing site called YouTube. As CTV's Tom Hayes reports, the purchase could change the way you spend your time online.
With the announcement of the mega deal this weekend, this way of watching TV will soon be so yesterday.
Today we have some exciting news for you. We've been acquired by Google.
Take a look at this video. They're giddy. And why not? That's YouTube co-founders Steve Chen and Chad Hurley. They're splitting a gut because they will split $1.6 billion after being bought by Google. Their message was, of course, posted on YouTube.
With Google gobbling up YouTube, we really find ourselves at the crossroads of video viewing. This box here representing where we used to be, and this box here really representing where we're going.
More and more the answer is coming up that the audience is in control.
Tech expert Chris Abel says sitting down to watch a show at a time dictated by a broadcaster is pretty much over.
Back in the old days, you had a little dial with just 12 channels on it, and then it grew to having two dials, and then eventually you got the remote control with hundreds of channels. Well, what's happening now that we have the internet becoming the new distribution system for television is that you're accessing it with a keyboard.
Television viewing has come a long way in just 50 years, but today there's a newer box in town, and it's threatening to replace the old one. In fact, for many, it already has. TV or computer?
Computer.
Computer.
TV or computer?
Computer, probably.
It was an idea that started just over a year ago. An idea to allow people to upload whatever video they want and watch whatever video they want. Sort of no rules TV with 100 million viewers every day. And a price tag that has the creators doing this. All the way to the bank.
They are Canadian pop culture icons satirizing life in a trailer park. The Trailer Park Boys movie is sure to make the raucous and racy humor of the show even more popular. But some who live in real trailer parks fear the movie will spread negative stereotypes. CTV's Mark Petroni has more.
In this maritime trailer park, everybody knows Ricky, Julian, and Bubbles. And as much as he enjoys the Trailer Park Boys, Murray Terrace admits the show reinforces negative stereotypes.
That's what it does, no question about that. But we know that it's not that way. There's no trailer trash in this park that I know of.
The show's depiction of three foul-mouthed rogues who managed to stay one step ahead of the park supervisor is now a feature-length movie.
Now, the image of trailer parks has never been particularly good and have even given birth to terms like trailer trash. There is a possibility, according to some, that the movie and the TV show might have the inverse effect of actually making trailer parks seem cool.
Mike Smith, who plays Bubbles, has opened up this bar to coincide with the movie's premiere.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's happening now? All of a sudden it's very cool to live in a trailer park.
So cool that the actor has decorated his trendy night spot with trailer park junk. As for suggestions, his show reinforces negative stereotypes.
No, I don't think so. I mean, that goes on anywhere. And as a matter of fact, I mean, if you watch, you know, they cut out all the nice stuff we do, and you know, those guys are actually really good guys, Ricky and Julian. They do anything for you. And they're...
Pop culture analyst Jacqueline Warwick says the Trailer Park Boys does what all good satire should do.
In some ways an affectionate way of playing with that stereotype, and also a very clever way of doing it. Just as, you know, when Buck Owens played sort of the dumb hick on Hee Haw.
Murray Terrace says, in a way, the show is making trailer parks trendy.
Yeah, it is in a way, you know, because everybody says, well, hey, you're a trailer park boy, and you know, we're not. We are, but we aren't, right?
About time, say some, that park residents who've taken their share of ribbing over the years have some anti-heroes they can call their very own. Mark Petroni, CTV News, Lake Echo, Nova Scotia.
Stability balls are a great core workout, but there's a new athletic apparatus that's revolutionizing sports training. It's a half ball, something called a BOSU. CTV's Peter Millette has more.
Perfect. So just bring your chin up, look straight ahead.
Darren Steves leads Corrine Jones through a set of double leg squats, a great exercise for strengthening the lower body, made even more effective when performed on a BOSU ball.
Perfect. Excellent.
One side is flat, the other is an inflated dome. The BOSU is much smaller and safer than a stability ball and designed to be a major test of balance.
But moving to an unstable environment now forces, say, all my ankle muscles to work as well. So if you were a basketball player, a volleyball player, or even a regular Joe and Jane out walking with pebbles or on the sand or going for a hike, it'll hopefully keep those muscles strong and endured, so to reduce the likelihood of injury as well.
Corrine Jones started training on a BOSU ball when she played university hockey. She says the BOSU takes her exercise regime to a whole new level.
Like, you can do variations of regular exercises you do all the time, then do it on the BOSU ball, and it's a different level.
That's because the BOSU targets smaller muscles that people don't realize they're working.
Right leg lead, here we go. Step hamstring curl.
Danny McKinnon is a 4-time national aerobics champ and leads the only BOSU ball class in the Maritimes. McKinnon has adapted a number of exercises for the ball: lunges, crunches, even push-ups. He says the BOSU is perfect for people of all ages who want to strengthen their core and stabilize their muscles.
So if you have good core strength, you're going to walk better. You're going to, you're going to stand better.
And feel better too, because a BOSU ball can add fun and a whole new dimension to a fitness routine.
The number one reason for people not to stay with an exercise program is it isn't fun. So we like to add in the fun factor, and people really enjoy getting on a stability ball, getting on a BOSU ball, having some fun with it, as long as it's safe.
3, 2, other side.
The BOSU ball was developed in 1999 and until recently was used by elite athletes only, but not anymore. And if there's a BOSU ball in your future, you're advised to get the help and advice of an exercise professional first. Peter Millette, CTV News, Halifax.
And you'll need to work out with the BOSU ball for this next story. It just goes to prove there's a contest out there for everyone. The Farahs have won the 7th annual North American Wife Carrying Championship in Maine. To win, John Farah had to sling his wife Tess over his shoulder, then navigate a wet obstacle course. The couple won Tess's weight in beer, a very trim 110 pounds, plus $550 in cash. The Farahs are also eligible for the Wife Carrying World Championships in Finland next July. North Korea thumbs its nose at the world by putting its finger on the nuclear trigger. Doesn't sound very funny, but North Korea's leader is the type to inspire nervous giggles, at least the way some media portray him. Jeannie Mose reports.
Though no one was practicing duck and cover drills, news from North Korea is yet another stressful thing.
It's bad. It's bad.
It worries me a lot.
Oh, it absolutely makes me nervous.
On North Korean TV, the nuclear bombshell was dropped by an anchor woman so enthusiastic she rivaled Katie Couric's pre-CBS Evening News self. The New York Times had a straightforward across-the-page banner headline: North Korea says it tested a nuclear device underground. And the New York Post? Not with a nuke. After all, that's how Kim Jong-il is often portrayed in America. I am so crazy! Mad TV presented Kim as a talk show host interviewing Donald Trump.
So, Donald Trump, you have a head like a mushroom cloud. Thank you.
Whoever imagined Donald Trump's hair would be prophetic?
Omarosa! You're fired.
North Korea's UN ambassador was the object of a media chase as he went 5 foot to the UN. The press followed and followed, even when the ambassador said he'd had enough.
That's enough. That's enough.
But at least he didn't do what Angelina Jolie's bodyguard did to a photographer staking out Angelina and Brad in India. At least the North Korean ambassador, despite his imperfect English, was able to pronounce a certain word.
The nuclear test.
Better than a certain president.
A nuclear test.
Nuclear is correct, though Merriam-Webster's notes that while disapproved of, nuclear is widely used by educated speakers, including at least one U.S. president. And speaking of nukes...
There's a real argument about why we can have it and they can't.
I don't have any. Do you have any?
No, not on me.
It's okay, because I always have to go next door to my neighbors when I need one.
No depiction of Kim Jong-il...
Hello!
...has captured the dear leader quite the way the guys who created South Park did in their movie.
I'm so lonely, so lonely, so lonely inside real Rome.
I actually think if the real Kim Jong-il ever sees that, he'll probably start crying.
Don't cry for me, North Korea. Ginny Mo, CNN, New York.
If you'd like to contact us here at Good Morning Canada, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us by mail at Good Morning Canada, care of CTV Calgary. The address is on your screen. Or email us at goodmorningcanada@ctv.ca. That's our time. Thanks for joining us. Have a terrific weekend. And we leave you now with some images of the beautiful city of Calgary. I'll see you next time.